Hey there, it's CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana. Across the Red River is beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. It's a nice night. Cloudy, but not raining. We had some rainy weather throughout the area throughout the day, but I just pretty much stayed in until the evening. Went out to a meeting, came home about 9:30, decided to go out and take a walk. Um, for cardio, sure, and really for peace of mind also. I've gotten back into the gym. Well, I went one night back to the gym yesterday, and I hope that I'm going to be able to get back in today. But one of the things that I really want to do is I want to go ahead and I had to talk myself into it basically because I do have to be considerate of finances, and I have things that I want to do. I have trips that I want to pay for, and I want to buy another television for my bedroom. Uh, I spend too much time in the living room sitting up watching TV, and if I get a TV for the bedroom, then I'll spend a little bit more time in the bedroom instead of the living room. This is my big worry, and that's not a worry at all, right? That's not a concern at all. So I'm really happy and grateful that my big concern is where I'm going to spend my evening. You know, what part of the apartment I'll sleep in consideration of that type of stuff, it just kind of reminds me to stay, a little bit more humble about the world that I live in. Have a little bit more compassion about the people that I come across that maybe are going through a tough time. So and I have no illusion at all that at any given moment things could get tough for any of us. So so I guess I just want to talk about means of compassion. What are some ways that we can show compassion? Simple little ways. So maybe we don't have money to give. But do we sometimes have a few moments to lend an ear to someone in need? And when I say that, I mean a few moments to listen to someone who might have something to say that does not involve them trauma dumping or being like aggressive or passive aggressive or abusive or something like that or whatever. Maybe, I don't know, maybe sometimes the compassion can be that sometimes we have to leave people alone but then pray for them. If I'm not in the mental space to show capacity in that moment, sometimes what I need to do is I need to leave a person alone or people alone or whatever. If I'm not in a good headspace, I'm not going to be putting out good energy into the universe or whatever by my interactions or whatever. So yeah, that's just the topic that's on my mind. It does not mean that that's what I'm going to be talking about for like an entire hour. I might talk about something else. I don't know. I do know that the more that we care for our planet, our animal friends, uh, not just taking this can and throwing it down when I'm done with it, but actually putting it in a proper receptacle, the little things like that. Compassion that I can show my environment in which I live. Compassion for the world that I'm going to leave behind. Inevitably, it's going to be less of an impact, less of a negative impact, therefore hopefully more of a positive impact on the future. And what I mean by that is very, very simple. Strictly in terms of physical, of the physical material world, this body that I'm me, this particular body, it's going to die, and it's going to decompose or whatever. It's going to turn into its basic elements, the things that make this body what it is, the physical part of it. So even the most non-spiritual minded person can identify with the idea of dust to dust, water to water, gases to gases, that kind of stuff. We just go back to the elements. We go back into basically the food chain. We break down. We go into being nutrients for that which feeds upon us after we go. But inevitably, we become part of that food chain, and we'll grow into like grub worms or plants or something like that. And someone will come along and eat that small thing, and next thing you know, nutrients get broken down, and we're a part of. At any given point, we are part of that which has consumed us, and inevitably we make our way back up to the food chain, to the apex of it, human kindness, human being, or whatever, humankind, mankind, whatever. Inevitably, as long as there is humanity, and if it is perpetual humanity, for as long as there is humanity, there is every bit the possibility that parts of my physical body that I'm in now are going to end up being part of a physical body later on, throughout the generations or whatever. Especially if I am in a place where there are, where there's a heavy animal bacteria, all that kind of stuff, where there's life, where there's a heavier population of life, and we're going to get recycled back into the life cycle. Okay, that's about as hippie as you can get, right? The soul doesn't even factor in. The soul is that part that people believe is life. It's what brings it is what gives life to the living, whether it be sentient or non-sentient life form. It's that soul that really creates life. That spoken word in creation that says, let there be life, let there be this, let there be that, or whatever. That's the soul, the breath being breathed into, whatever. That's the soul. And then the spirit is kind of, I think, this is the way I think of it, and the spirit is kind of like what we leave behind, what people think of us, how people regard us and consider us, but also the impact that we leave behind, the echoes, long after our generations have been forgotten, the impacts that we have that we leave today are going to be uh, potentially felt in the future. So there is a compassion that we can lead for the future by being more kind to the world and our environment today, and each other, by the way, because if we're more kind to each other, it creates better vibes in general. And I'm just increasingly aware of bad attitude begetting bad attitude, and swelling and growing like a breeder reactor. But also, goodness has a swelling effect. You know, good, positive energy increases and touches and everything like that. So, yeah. The battle for good and evil, if you want to think of it in that terms, good or bad, can be fought and won with our mouth, with our attitude, you know, collectively, as a, you know, we are the ones that kind of decide what happens to the world, you know, the people. You know. Hang on one second. Yeah, so it is mankind. We're kind of the steward. We're kind of, I don't know if that's what was appointed or that's just what we rose to be through evolution. I don't know. But what I do know is that we're the ones making the decision about the home in which we live, our Earth, and now our neighboring universes. We're, you know, planning on more and more trips to the moon and all that kind of stuff. So we're starting to really branch out more realistically than we thought before. So, compassion as we move forward is going to have a lot to do with what we leave behind. And maybe compassion should be more about considering those people that we don't know, as well as the people that we do know. It's very easy to display compassion when we know people and we know the immediate impacts. And it's easier to display non-compassion, not being compassionate when we don't know, you know, the people who are going to be affected, you know. So proximity has a lot to do with kindness immediately, but maybe we could think about those that we don't know and that we'll never know, that we'll never meet, that we'll never say hello to. And also that type of compassion, if we're going to do that, we may as well think about the future generations also. You know? So, and the only thing it can do, this type of compassion that I'm talking about, the only thing really it can do that I can see, thinking of a better tomorrow for those who come after us, the only thing that's really going to do is make a better today for those of us living in this moment today. You know, so if you guys have some thoughts on that, you know, you can let me know in the comments or whatever. If you think it's foolish to think this way, that's fine too, or whatever. But yeah, it's this is, hang on one second. I want to cross the street. I'm going to pause so I can cross. Okay. I like to kind of pay attention when I'm crossing a street, especially one that's like busy with traffic or whatever. So Yeah, let me know in the comments what you think and whatever. Now, I am not a person who has a lot of money. I am by uh, anybody's in this country, by anybody's yardstick that they're going to measure by, I would probably be uh, uh, among the lower percentile when it comes to like money that I have. I'm pretty poor, but um, I'm a single guy, not trying to raise a family, so I can manage. I couldn't raise a family on my finances, but I don't really care that much about that. What I do care about is what I call emotional wealth. Having a little bit of serenity in my mind, a little bit of serenity in my life. There are people that will be sometimes manifest in our lives that are like crabs. And I'm thinking of, like, I'm in Louisiana. We get these blue crabs that come in season. We use one of, crabs, a box of crabs. And you see this one or two crab trying to climb up and trying to climb out of the box. And what do the other crabs do? They reach up and they grab a hold of the crab and they pull it back down. They pull each other down, trying to crawl out of. They trying to step over each other and try to crawl out of each other to crawl out of the box of crabs. And they keep doing that. And as soon as a crab feels like it's going to get over the box and get out, another crab is there to pull it back down. It's a constant thing. That's what happens. That's a box of crabs, crabby people. That's what I'm talking about. So sometimes you find that there are crabs in your life, people who are crabby, and just as you feel that you're about to get some headway, some emotional serenity. I'm not talking about wealth. I'm talking about just the emotional state of wellness that each one of us should survive. We come across these, for whatever reason, these manifestations, these people in our lives that feel like they can grab us and pull us back down into that emotional box that really we need to get out of, so that we don't end up being boiled alive and eaten. That's a metaphor, but it's an apt metaphor. And sometimes there are people who find out that they need, hang on, let me step past these people. I love this song that's playing in the background. I hope that I don't catch it in the background too much, because what happens is, it's like, if I'm walking by and I'm making a video and it picks up some background music, then my video gets flagged for like, what is, oh, people up there. Ha, good one. So yeah, it's kind of a wild night tonight. So anyway, yeah. So what was I talking about? I was talking about crabby people. And so we find that there are people who, they're not always emotionally wealthy. Maybe they're going through some things or whatever. And so what happens is, so we find out that they're kind of toxic for us. And it really doesn't matter who the people are. We may know them intimately. We may know them in passing. They might be toxic for us. And sometimes, in order for us to be able to display compassion to the rest of the world, sometimes we have to let the crabby people kind of go. And we have to kind of pray for them, but not allow them to attach their emotional unrest upon us and pull us down, like crabs will want to do when another crab, I guess, whatever, is trying to find their emotional wealth, their emotional health, their emotional well-being, which is tied to the physical well-being. If you are emotionally unhealthy and you remain in that state, it is going to affect your physical health. That is a medical fact. So it's crucial to be able to help when and where that you can. But when you find that the help that you're trying to be for some other people are affecting you, then you have to maybe, you know, let the negative people kind of go. And you have to kind of trust them to, the world, But especially if whatever it is that you have to offer is maybe an ear, a conversation to listen to, but what happens is they just want to dump their problems and basically exploit or something like that. Sometimes you have to realize, hey, there's not really anything that I know to do for this person, so I just kind of have to let them go. I've been to doctors when I was oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize there were people over here. Sorry. I just kind of walked up and didn't realize there were people. I'm just like talking on my phone and literally just ran them off. I'm so sorry. It's dark out here too. But anyway, yeah. So what I want to talk about? Yeah, you just have to sometimes realize that if they're negative people, you just have to let them go, let them be. So that they don't affect your emotional well-being. Because if they're being a drain and a drag on your life, then you can't be the compassionate person that you need to be for the other people in your life. And I'm not thinking of any group of people in particular. That's just, I don't know, some lessons that I learned. I've had a therapist when I was younger and I was more obstinate in the way that I thought and presented myself. I was a lot less cooperative. Then what had to happen was maybe a therapist would have to say, you know what, I feel like you've gotten as much as you can get out of this relationship and you need to move on and find another therapist or something like that, because, all that stuff doesn't work without an open mind. I've had sponsors talk to me when I was younger and more hard-headed in my recovery, tell me that, you know what, there's not really that much that can happen right now because I'm being headstrong and putting up roadblocks to every single suggestion. I'm not willing to try anything. So how would I expect to grow? That kind of stuff, So perseverance, open-mindedness, and perseverance to take some suggestions, and also just not be combative, with the world and everybody that's in it. I don't want to have to fight with everybody and everything they say is wrong and everything that I say is right because nobody knows me like me and nobody could possibly have any good suggestions. See, those are the kind of things that when I'm trying to work on myself and I'm trying to grow and I'm trying to get better so that I can have a better life experience in today, and also because I'm caring about a greater worldview that I have, and also a greater generational view that I'm experiencing. I can't be any of those things if my thoughts and my attitudes are entirely selfish, and especially entirely selfish and unhealthy. It's one thing to be selfful and to think about some self-care and some self-advocacy and take care of the things that I need to take care of for myself, but those things need to be healthy. And if I'm of that mindset that I'm focused on things that are not healthy for me, then that's completely a selfish way to be. So, I don't know. It's not complicated. I know when I'm in a good space, space where I'm caring about my well-being and the well-being of other people. And then I know when I'm being in the mind and the attitude of a petulant child who wants to have my way. I want to have it right now, and I don't care. But I feel like everybody else ought to. Their conveniences ought to be built around my conveniences, and yeah. So I was talking about this earlier. Sometimes the most painstaking thing to do is to sit and wait for somebody to consider what they want to do. And if they need to make a yes or no decision on an activity that involves me, and my activity involves, this is like a partnership that I'm not going to do on my own. Some of the things that can be arduous, just is having to wait for someone to make up their mind. But sometimes they may need to take the time to make up their mind. They need to consider their finances, their time, the other people in their world, that type of thing. Sometimes people have to wait on those things for me. So why shouldn't I have to sometimes wait on those types of decisions for other people? If you have thoughts on any of this kind of stuff, feel free to comment. I've been going on for about half an hour. I kind of want to walk over and explore. It's a nice night and there are people out. I love to come walk down here, and of course I vlog, and the purpose of this video when I come out for these walks is for a health walk. Keeps me from sitting around and snacking on food that I don't want to snack on until it's time for me to start my calorie and carb counts over again at midnight. So I'm doing things physically for myself, I'm doing things nutritionally for myself, and I'm doing things emotionally for myself by taking the time to think about my place in the order of things and what I can do versus, what my limitations are, and just all those kind of things. But also, a big part of this channel, as I go through my experiences and I vlog about it, I really also want to highlight all the wonderful, beautiful things about my city. Some of the features that we have, some of the fun things. This Saturday, which is May the 2nd, I think earlier I was talking about it and somebody said maybe I said Monday the 2nd. I don't know. But certainly May the 2nd is Free Comic Book Day. We're going to go over to Excalibur. I'm going to get, and I do this every year, get the promotional comic books, and then of course buy a few things that I've had my eye on. I tend to make an event out of comic books. I don't rush out every month and buy comic books because I don't live next to a drugstore. I think I talked about this in the video last night or something. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, the things that we talked about, or the things that I've talked about, please do feel free to comment and let me know what you think on the topics of self-care, self-advocacy, compassion towards myself, compassion towards yourself, and also compassion for the world that we live in, and compassionate in the imprint that we leave behind for future generations, and also compassion for the effects that we live in today, how they affect things that we may never know about. Things that we may never know about that may not be our business, except for the action or the non-action that we take. is our business, and ultimately that part of it is our responsibility. How do we feel on things like that? Okay, so I'm gonna just walk around downtown for a little bit, and then I'm gonna head home. But I've made a pretty good video here, and I'm gonna end it while I'm ahead before I get to feeling too foolish. Although my motto is never be afraid to look foolish. But yeah, let's take a look at these fountains. I love that we have this river walk that people can come down and check out this Riverview Park and just kind of relax, and I love it, you know. And how fun is it, you know? It's nice and calm, and oh, I want to say, getting together with family and friends and loved ones and everything, it doesn't always have to involve getting together to go spend money also. My big thing is I love to get together with people and just visit and just be with people, you know. I love that, you know. So sometimes it can be sitting around watching TV, you know. It doesn't always have to be a thing, you know. But I do want to maybe get together and have people over sometime pretty soon. Play some, you know, cook some food, and then have like, pull out the board game, you know. A couple of my friends just got out of surgery. One had surgery on his shoulder. Another one, just a few days ago, had surgery on his hip. People that I've become fond of, you know. And so it's like, yeah, thinking about them, you know. So I want to like wait until people get up on the mend a little bit and everything like that, and then I'll probably try to have some gathering. So in a couple of months or whatever. But yeah, let me go ahead and just you know, end this video by telling you that I love you, and you know, for the human that you are, and for the shared family upon this earth that I feel that we all have, you know. And I don't even have to know you to have this type of love, you know. But take care of yourselves, and yeah, love and light, and good night.